We are live. Welcome to Shifty Perspective, episode 12. In this episode, we speak to my very good friend, Brazilian Jiu-jitsu black belt, Professor Michel Ras. We've just had a bit of an issue trying to start this, so apologies for anybody who is waiting. Thank you, and hey, Michel.
Hey, guy. Hey, man.
You can see and hear me right now, okay?
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, so I mean, we already just went over the pleasantries of how we're doing and stuff, but yeah. So I just asked you, for anyone who didn't miss this, anyone who did miss the beginning, sorry, was how have you found rolling again now that lockdown's over?
Yeah, I was really glad to be back on the mat again, to see all the guys, to teach class again. I felt real great, and my condition was a bit rusty, but it will come again.
Yeah, I guess, yeah, everyone gets rusty, but I mean, it's not like it's not the techniques itself don't go out the window, right? It's just the kind of the muscle memory is still there, but is it more the conditioning or?
Yeah, it's conditioning, but also timing, because we didn't do much the last 3 months, so I can see my timing is a bit it's not it's not only the condition, it's also timing for submissions or for reactions,
like feeling for openings and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Cool. So how was your journey like into, you've been doing jiu-jitsu for ages now, right? And then before that you did judo as well, yeah?
Yeah, true. Yeah, it's because of judo I came in connection with jiu-jitsu. I was in 2007 I was training judo, and there was a guy coming to the judo club, and we were sparring, and I had no problems with takedowns, but when we came on the ground, he finished me off every time again. So I didn't understand what was happening. So I asked him in the end of the class, what kind of background does he have? So he told me that he was doing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and at that time they only teach class in Amsterdam. So I went with him to Amsterdam, and that was my beginning of my journey with Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. It was since 2007.
Well, that's a long time, yeah. 13, almost 14 years. Shit.
Yeah.
And how long were you doing judo before that?
I started judo when I was 7 years old, so 28 years.
Whoa, it's a long time.
Yeah. So judo helped me in the beginning with jiu-jitsu. I also made a lot of judo mistakes to give my back, and I was vulnerable at some points. But yeah, if you know judo, you know a lot of takedowns. So jiu-jitsu starts from the standing positions, and we work to the ground, and it helps me a lot to bring my opponent to the ground.
Yeah. Do you find is it something that you feel has increased your kind of awareness and just general movement in life in general, like just outside? Like I mean, you must be, obviously you're very agile and stuff when you're moving around. It's quite crazy to see you kind of just flipping about and stuff. So on a day-to-day basis, you know, do you feel?
Jiu-jitsu, martial arts helps me when I have a rough day at work, or I got something on my mind and I go to training. I will lose all the all my thoughts, so I really can focus on jiu-jitsu, and and that's what I like. I'm in my zone when I'm practicing jiu-jitsu, and nothing else matters. So yeah.
Yeah, I feel like the same. It's really, really unique to the closest thing I found is swimming. Like I used to swim well for quite a few years, and that would be like a good stress release of where I was in a zone, like, and especially swimming underwater. You know, I dive into the water and I just be like floating and swimming through, and the feeling I get when I train jujitsu is that basically. I mean, I love doing the kickboxing and I love all of the other, you know, like the other fight sports, boxing and MMA and stuff like that. But there's something different. It's something really meditative about it. You know, it's like
Yeah,
it's almost
for
like
sure.
it's yoga.
Yeah, yeah. It's like sometimes I drive to jiu-jitsu and I'm real stressed up, speeding and everything, and and I came, so I arrive at the class, I do my jiu-jitsu thing, and when I go home, I'm really relaxed, and yeah, my mind is just without stress. It's just really a stress reliever, and yeah, it really works for me. And uh, yeah, you have to work hard on the mat. So yeah, I like it. I really have to push myself against everyone, and yeah, that's what I love.
I find that the whole working hard on the mat thing crazy because the way that it translates to strength and size is just it throws all of the norms out the window. You know how I can remember like the first time that I came to your class actually, and you know I've boxed before. I fat and I was or I was a lot actually fatter. I was a lot heavier then, but you know I was stronger than a lot of people at first. I thought, and then you know I'm against there's a couple of the girls, and next thing you know I'm like tap 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 like you know I'm
Yeah, man. Yeah, yeah,
I've got some 45 kilo lady on my back choking me out, and I'm like, what the fuck just happened?
yeah,
So
man. I really love to see it. I remember one time one of the girls went sparring with a guy who was big, 2 meters, and she weighed, I think, 45 kilograms. And the first thing what he said to me was, "Why you put me against this girl? What can she do?" And I think 1 minute later, he was unconscious on the mat because she choked him out.
no way.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you think that was like the whole stubbornness of you know not tapping? Because
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, he
And
was like he refused to tap, and next
he
thing you know,
refused to
he's
tap. Yeah, he refused to tap for a girl, and yeah, he was too much pride, so he ended up unconscious on the mat.
oh my
So,
god.
yeah,
Yeah, I've learned that pretty quick. The whole tapping thing is for anyone who's listening who doesn't do any martial arts or particularly any grappling sports, when you there's a real conscientious politeness and an honor to tap and to know to tap when someone gets you in a position. And if they're, you know, in an arm bar, so well, for the video thing, people, you know, your arm is outstretched and they're locking it up, and essentially they could break your arm, or in a choke where you can't breathe. You know, you have to tap, and you just say the word tap if you can't physically tap, or you tap on them or on the ground, and they let go of you. But yeah, it's a weird thing. It's a weird ego thing, you know, to
it
like
is. It is.
really let
Yeah.
go.
Sometimes you see guys who do a lot of weightlifting and got big arms and got an impressive body, and gonna have to fight against somebody who's really slim and shorter than them. It breaks their ego when they have to tap. It's and that's what I like to
Yeah,
see, man. That's
yeah, man.
yeah,
I just literally came just I finished work, and then at like 5 o'clock, so it's 7 o'clock now. And so as soon as I finished, I went downstairs and I trained for an hour with Meg, with my friend. Oh yeah, you know her. I've
yeah,
been
yeah,
I just
yeah.
started teaching her. You know, we've done kickboxing for a few months, but now in the past few weeks we started to do some BJJ, and uh, it's nice like to unwind after work and just show someone an armbar or a triangle choke, and teach us some takedowns and stuff. It's really cool.
For sure, yeah. During the Corona crisis, and when people stayed at home, you heard a lot of people who bought some mats and went on training at home and doing their drills and doing alternative things to keep on going. So at home I also have some mats upstairs.
Nice.
And where I can do some things. So yeah, you have to be you have to look for alternatives.
Yeah, I think that like some of the people that I follow did keep things up, and they were doing calisthenics and stuff like that, and trying to keep themselves strong. I think for a lot of people, the motivation was quite difficult to to keep it up. I've definitely got a lot of friends that as soon as the group stopped, then then they don't, or their team that they train with stop, then they lose the motivation. Because I find, even for myself, like doing it on my own is, shit, it's so hard. Like going to the gym, the amount of times I've signed up to the gym and then I just stopped going because like it's raining or something. But with like training BJJ, it's like there's a whole group of us. There's and if I don't go, then I feel like I'm essentially letting people down. So
that's what I find. That's why I'm so glad with the group that I teach. Is the guys and girls are motivating each other, and they bring each other to a high level. And yeah, I don't know a lot of sports where you can compare that and find that teamwork like that. Yeah.
How long have you actually been teaching it for then?
I started in I think 2015 or 14.
Oh wow,
So
okay, cool.
5 years, 6 years, yeah. So
and have you done any like teaching beforehand?
No, I didn't.
Anything else or?
No. So I started teaching jiu-jitsu, and yeah, I already was asked sometimes to do a class when somebody was sick or something.
Yeah.
But since 5 or 6 years, I have my own class.
Yeah. And do you find like, was that quite a nervous, daunting thing to start?
Yeah. When you're gonna teach class, you really have to know all the details and how you bring them over to your students, and that I started to learn when I teach class. I didn't knew that before, so I knew the techniques, and but to show somebody how you do the techniques, you have to step for step, and sometimes it even brings me how do you say it's how do you say it forces me to know the details, every single detail.
Yeah, because maybe when you just learn it yourself, you just learn the thing, but you don't actually go into it, and you brush over, and then there's all these I guess like nuances, subtle nuances that are in every movement.
True. Yeah. So that was the hardest part for me for the beginning. And when you teach class, you got several all kinds of people with all kinds of different reasons why they're doing why they start jiu-jitsu. So we have guys who come from MMA and want to
fuck people up.
fuck people up, and work on the groundwork, and you got just people who like the sport and stay in movement, and other people for self-defense. So yeah, all different kind of reasons why people start jiu-jitsu.
And you've
And
got to get used to kind of like dealing with all of those
yeah,
people and
yeah,
meeting their needs, I
exactly.
guess.
Yeah, exactly. So also with sparring, you can see there are different kinds of people. Some people tap sooner than others. Some even go in the training. They look for the danger to break their arm or injure themselves because they won't tap, because I won't see it. Yeah, maybe their ego is too big. I don't know, or they just want they're so competitive that they don't want to tap.
I think it's one of those things though that like to get really good, you have to let go of your ego.
Yeah,
So
for sure.
like, I mean, obviously it helps to be competitive, but it's such a team thing where you're really helping each other, you
Yeah,
know. And if someone's just like coming in with this, they want to just beat everyone straight away, but they've never done it before, then like who's going to want to help them because they're just going to be annoying and
yeah,
aggressive and
exactly. And I also like it because when people have a big ego and they show it in the team, there's always somebody who's better than you,
yeah.
and that person will put you on your in the right place, and uh, that's also what I like with jiu-jitsu. So
Yeah.
there's no place for egos, uh, and yeah, and when you bring your ego, it will get you will get punished. Yeah,
I think that's like why you another reason why when you see like fights and stuff happening in the street, it's always untrained people generally fighting,
yeah,
because
yeah,
like once you learn the power of your own body and you learn, you know, that you can really hurt somebody and you don't want to, and when you know how much somebody also can cause damage on you,
yeah,
then the whole thing shifts. Like I remember when we went out in when we were out in Amsterdam, and you know, there's just like we're sat in a bar and you can just see other groups of people, and there's macho men that are drunk, and you
yeah,
know you can just there's always close
yeah,
around when you're in a city
yeah,
for a fight happening. And then
yeah,
I
for
was
sure.
looking and I was thinking like, you know, little these people, you know, they're big and they're pushing themselves around and stuff, but little do they know that, you know, there's like a few of us sat here, and you know, you look so unsuspecting, and then you know the other guys who were with Patrick, like, you know, an accountant who look, you know, chilled guy, you know, actually are probably the most dangerous people in the bar, but would never
Yeah,
hurt anybody. And you know,
yeah,
that's
yeah, yeah. They don't show it, and um, it's, yeah, that's what I like with jiu-jitsu. You can't tell when somebody will fuck you up or not, because
yeah,
uh, it's all between the ears, uh,
all
and
between the ears.
yeah, exactly.
It's
Yeah, man.
good.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And you always got some. Um, so I also trained MMA for a while, and I remember I'm not good at striking. It's
Yeah,
um, uh, I did not. So I have no kickboxing background or
you just
striking
do a bit of
background.
kickboxing as
Yeah, I
well.
did a bit. Yeah, so and I started to do MMA, and so I was pretty yeah, convenient with my groundwork. But I know there was a lot of to learn about my striking and kicking. And I remember a guy, and he knew that I was not doing MMA for a long time, and I was not good at striking. So my how do you say, my blocking for
Your guard.
strikes,
Yeah.
yeah, was not that well. So we had to spar, and the first thing was he did a roundhouse kick so against my face, and I was like,
Whoa.
ooh, and
Like an actual power.
yeah, actual power, yeah, really hard, so unnecessary, but
What a dick.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So I had to stop at that moment because I was feeling really dizzy, and but I remember, but because yeah, if somebody does that to you, if I'm like that, so the next time I did MMA class, it was like from standing to the ground, so you could shoot, then you bring the guy to the ground.
Nice.
Yeah, and then I fucked him up on the ground. Yeah.
Did you play with him, or did you submit him for quickly, or did you like
No,
follow this
just
path? Or?
really play with him. So you have some real fast finishes, but you really can grind on somebody like against the face, hurt him with the with your shoulder, with shoulder pressure on his face. So each time he's near tapping, but then you stop, then you're gonna bring something else to,
Nice.
grinding.
Yeah.
He actually wants to tap, but he got no reason to tap because I don't pull
Submissions on him, like.
yeah.
And I guess like also then his ego is like, he doesn't want to tap if he's not getting submitted, so therefore he just lets you punish him.
Yeah. So that's how that's how it works. Yeah.
I find it crazy, like honestly, just like rolling with you. I know you're all about the pressure game and about how you are so accurate at putting. It's not even just weight, because like to anyone who doesn't do this and is listening, like when you have someone like Michel on top of you and he has like his knee on you or something, it feels like he's like double his weight, and like it's horrible. Your air is sucked out of you. You feel just panicked, and you might be really strong, but any momentum you're trying to, you just can't even focus on any movement because of his pressure. And it's really, I've rolled with like lots of good people, but your pressure is unique, and that's something that is it's something I want to learn, but it's very, very, very scary and very daunting. And it's great if you're on someone like that who is just and you just get on them and you push the air out of them.
Yeah. And sometimes it's necessary because just what I said, my conditioning is sometimes not that good. But and when somebody has just a lot of conditioning, or somebody's lighter, so he moves way easier, then I have to pin him and try to suck out the energy with that kind of moves. So I'm gonna use knee on belly. That's the pressure game, where you put your knee on the belly, and he got difficult with breathing. Or I gonna lay on his chest, so he got difficult with breathing because I'm put my full weight on your chest, so your chest won't come out full.
So you can't take the breath in and expand. That's how. Okay. Yeah.
So that's how I play a bit, and to get people tired, or and people will give their arms because it's pressure that they want. Some people are afraid for a bit pressure, so they're gonna expose the arms, or maybe the legs, or expose the neck, and then I can attack.
Yeah, I find that's like one of the fundamental thing that links it to like chess, is the tactical aspect of it, because you are putting pressure on one aspect of somebody to almost incite a reaction from them. You're goading them into reacting in a certain way, and then you have something lined up to react with that. So when you're on top of them, and you put pressure there, so they go to push away your arm, and then you can grab them and gift wrap them.
It's really like chess. With one move you try to get another move from that person, and you look how they react, and if they react like you want to, then you could apply a submission, or you see something else. It's ongoing the whole time, so you have to try to get how do you say, you really poke them to stupid things.
Yeah. You're goading them, I think, is
Yeah,
probably
yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah,
come and get me, come and get me, that kind of
yeah,
thing.
yeah, 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 man. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you find um just I guess this is like skipping over quite a bit, but when we went skiing obviously in was it January?
Yeah,
I think we
yeah,
we went
January.
skiing in January. Did you
Yeah.
find that you could see a link between your because you were very good quick, you know, for someone who never skied, you were just like oh yeah, absolutely very impressive. So do you think that was because of your martial arts and your center of balance and stuff like that?
I know my balance as well, and um, I really studied how people were skiing. So, like you already you're much better in skiing than me.
Mm-hmm.
So I was really looking at how you stand on your skis,
Ah,
you
okay.
made the turns. I try to copy you with your movements,
Cool.
and and sometimes there was fear because we did
Oh
some
yeah.
steep parts, and I knew
Yeah.
I could fall really hard, but yeah, it's yeah,
We did some crazy runs, man. Like
yeah,
the we took the red runs, so like I mean maybe I was a bit of an asshole, but um we went up on a day of the snowstorms
yeah, man,
and took a red run down
yeah,
for someone this was like your like third day of skiing or second day of skiing maybe, and it's just like a near vertical drop off. I was scared and like to see you at the top and I go down a bit and
I
I
was
turn around.
really scared, man. I was really scared because so we went through the woods, and that was not that scary.
Yeah.
But then I noticed, and somebody was telling from yeah, if something happens now and the chopper has to come, then you're in big shit. So
Yeah.
that was playing in the back of my mind. So and we came on that steep part of the hill, and we had to go down, and yeah, I really felt warm, and I knew I had to did not make mistakes, because then I will slide
You could
along.
break your arm or your leg
Yeah,
or
yeah,
worse
yeah,
even.
yeah, yeah, man. So
And when I'm looking up and I just remember like looking and seeing you and Jake at the top and I dropped off and then it was scary for me and I stopped, turned around and just to look back up at you guys and I was like, fuck, that was really scary. Are they like, and I'm like a good skier. Are they gonna be all right with that? And then I'm just like, you've got to just do it at this moment. It's like, you're on the edge of the precipice and you just have to take that leap. Because if you do it badly and you hesitate really slow and you fuck up, then you could hurt yourself more. So
yeah,
you really
man. Yeah, yeah.
suck it
I
up.
can Yeah, I can remember Jake and me were saying, "If you go, I go." When we get at real difficult parts, and yeah, Jake was a little bit better than me, but he was really, yeah. When I actually thought, no, I'm not gonna do it, and when he said yes, then yeah, I thought so. Yeah, if he goes, I
Yeah,
go.
man, that's
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah, man.
Solidarity together.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
But and then we went off on the actual off-piste part as well. That was
yeah. It was really scary.
that was so scary.
Really scary. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But I loved it because you really feel alive.
Yeah, I honestly like that feeling when we got to the bottom. So like for anyone listening who doesn't ski, we'd gone up a big mountain and it's a big mountain like in the Alps. I don't know how many thousand meters, and there's a snowstorm and it's pretty heavy, and they close off most of the lifts, the chair lifts, and so there's no real way of us getting home. And yeah, it's just treacherous. So we started skiing down a bit, and we saw on this ski map that all of the lifts had red lights to show they were closed, but there was one open on the other side of the valley, but all of the routes to it were closed, and there were barriers against it. So we were just like, well, our friend Will, first of all, he was a nutter. He was like, right, I'll go first, and just jumps through the barrier, and it's like, okay.
It's
And then
crazy.
we followed him, and we ended up in this place, and it was just like sheets of ice, wasn't it? Like,
Yeah, man.
I don't know, like
Yeah,
how steep?
it was
85.
steep and icy, so it was a real dangerous combination for me.
It was, mate, it was dangerous for all of us. Like, and I was like trying to play cool, because I think like me and Chris both said afterwards, like, we were the most experienced ones,
Yeah,
and Will.
yeah,
And
man.
and then there was like you and Jake, who were pretty new to skiing.
Yeah.
So like I was thinking, if I start shitting myself and being like, we're all gonna die, we're all gonna die, then we're probably, it's probably not gonna be good for you guys. So I'm like, yeah, it's fine. But when we actually got to the bottom, like that moment of,
Yeah,
we're
man. I can
alive, we're
remember.
fucking
Yeah,
alive.
yeah, exactly. I remember when we came on the bottom and we made it. I really felt, yes, I did accomplish that. So yeah, it was good. It was nice, man. Yeah, I had the same with surfing, because with surfing and you get dropped off your surfboard, and the wave catch you, and you don't know when the wave gonna let you go. So you just like in a washing machine, you go.
Yeah, it's scary.
Yeah, it's really scary, and you have to hold your breath, and then there's that point that you come on the surface and take a breath, and then there's another
Another.
waves and waves and waves. Yeah,
Oh my God.
yeah, man. It's it's
Actually,
good.
Jake and me we went to Morocco in March surfing, and there was a few places, like we were surfing on the first beach. It was pretty easy. I mean, it was still scary for us, but there was distance between the waves, so you could come up, and often you could like paddle onto your board, and then the next big wave would have come. But on one of the days, the instructor was like, hey, you guys, this beach is boring, I'm ready to just take you to a cool beach if you don't mind, jump into my van. And we were like, fuck yeah. So we went to this beach, and there was it was that kind of thing where you get hit if you catch it wrong.
Yeah.
You get knocked off, and then you're caught right in the perfect point, but it's the worst point, because every single time the wave
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
like,
yeah,
back under.
yeah, yeah, man. Constantly you get pulled back, and there's another
Yeah.
wave who's gonna hit you. Yeah.
How did you how often have you been surfing? Have you done that a lot, and how long for?
Yeah, so almost every vacation where I go, I it's a bit. I always look up for a jiu-jitsu club where I can train, and
Awesome.
I look for a surf spot. So I also always try to get a combination of those two.
Yeah.
So I've been surfing on the Canary Islands,
Oh yeah, nice.
like Tenerife,
Gran Canaria and
Gran
stuff like that.
Canaria. Yeah, I went in Portugal surfing, Aruba surfing, Indonesia surfing.
Nice, man.
Yeah, yeah.
So are you
Really
pretty
like
good
it.
at surfing?
No, I'm not that good. No, no, no,
Are you just saying that because you're humble?
no,
Or 'cause
no. I still on the longboard,
oh yeah,
and
yeah, cool.
so I I can't surf on a shortboard. So I'm not that good, but
But
I'm
can you turn and
enjoying.
stuff in the waves? Can you turn down the waves a bit?
Yes, I can make a corner,
Mm-hmm.
uh,
Cool.
but that's it. Not very fancy things.
I find like I'm pretty sure that my ultimate, like, I feel that I will have succeeded in life when I can spend my year split between skiing and surfing, and then just training jiu-jitsu
Yeah,
and kickboxing as and where I go.
but
Like,
yeah, you see it a lot in combinations. You see jiu-jitsu surf camps. across the world, and it's a real. I think it's a lot of people who are doing jiu-jitsu also surfing. It's a kind of combination. I don't know. It's I think a lot of people who are doing jiu-jitsu are also into surfing and other way
I
around.
think that like all of those things go together, because not I mean the physical thing of like the movement and how you have to be really in tune with yourself and your surroundings, because you know, like whether it's surfing, you know, you've got the ocean and you've got to read everything, and the mountains for skiing, and then jiu-jitsu, you know, you're really aware of your surroundings, the people around you, how you're going to fall and everything, and whoever you're rolling with. I think like that links them all. And then I think also like the humbling factor of like, you know, what you said at the beginning of how, you know that there's always someone better than you for jiu-jitsu. And, you know, I know when you're about to drown, or when you go down a big slope and on a ski, it's all the same thing. You're like, fuck, I'm just this tiny person that is, you know, really, really overwhelmed and dwarfed by whatever is happening around me.
Yeah, it's what you said about like when I did judo, and I did a lot of competitions in the past, and so I remember when I stepped into the mat, there was always a kind of stare down, and when you were sitting and waiting for your fight, you didn't talk to each other. There was a lot of distance. And when I started doing jiu-jitsu and also doing competitions, we talk with each other. We fight hard during the match, and afterwards, it's. I
give him a
realized
hug, and you know,
almost, man.
yeah.
Yeah. It's a real good vibe. It's that's also what I like. It's fight hard on the mat during the match, but after that you can laugh with each other and talk with each other. Yeah, it's all cool. It's
having that respect, right? And
yeah.
Do you find like there are people that come over who in competitions from like MMA maybe who don't have that, or do you still think that like everybody has that? Or have you ever experienced people that are really disrespectful even in a competition?
I went to competitions, and I've seen break out some fights on the mat.
Really?
And outside of the mat, so, and we also doing grappling competitions, and that's a mixture of guys with a jiu-jitsu background, but you also can find judo guys, wrestlers, MMA, sambo, and they have a different background, but still, that's I don't. When you fight, then I can always feel, oh, you're a wrestler, or you're a judo guy, or you're a jiu-jitsu guy, but it's for the competitions, what I did,
Still the
it's
same.
still the same respect. Yeah.
I guess you see that on like the UFC, even, you know, you see these guys who are enemies before, they're trash talking each other there, you know, like, oh fuck your mama, you know, I'm gonna shit in a bag and throw it. Not that I don't know, I'm not very good at trash talking really, but you know, and then like they go in and they beat the shit out of each other, and then like afterwards they're like, you know what, oh, I love you, come here, and you know, you're like, what? But I love that. I do. You know, it actually makes me emotional sometimes. I watch these fights and I'm like, oh, look at them, like.
But it's funny to see. It's like during the press conferences, you see really, they try to get under the skin with each other, and then after the fight, they're all good. Yeah,
man, I love it.
I love it too, man. Yeah.
What do you think about, like, with other martial arts, you earn belts so quick, you know, they're almost like given away, and like with jiu-jitsu, how I don't know how long was it how long did it take you to get your black belt, for example?
Since 2007, and in 2019, I
Oh well,
received my black belt. So it take me 12 years.
and that's
Uh,
12 years of like how often were you training?
um, yeah, I, I had my times during that I came once a week because I was injured or I didn't came some weeks at all. But most of the time, 2 times a week.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
that was normal training. Yeah.
Because I mean, I guess like there's a few of the famous jiu-jitsu practitioners, and there's some guys who have Jocko Willink, who's beast. He's an ex-marine, and they go in and they do like 7 days a week and get obsessed, and then they get their black belt, but it still takes them like 5-6 years, and that's like
Yeah.
them doing it every day, and they're already like hard as nails, like. So it's not something that you just like earn overnight, which I love.
Yeah, when I did judo, you got judo clubs. Um, so I was the age of 7 when I started doing judo, and when I was around 13, I had my green or blue belt. It went real slow, and that was good
Mm-hmm.
because there were little boys who were wearing a black belt when they with the age of 13, and I don't know how they get it, but during competition, um, that we were in the same age category and in the same weight category, so I had to compete against a boy with the same age with a black belt,
Wow.
and uh, he was the same level as me, but he were a black belt, and then yeah, I think it's
Did you beat him or did he beat you?
yeah, I beat him,
You beat
but
him.
yeah,
Nice.
but you must feel really fucked up when you're wearing a black belt, and it can always happen. You can always I can also be get that by a white belt, blue belt,
I
and I
guess
don't
if
mind.
like if you make you can just easily make it if you happen to make a mistake in the moment of it and you
Yeah,
leave yourself open.
yeah, true, yeah,
But I think there's like one thing is like rolling and getting tapped by somebody, and then it's a whole different thing to be like in a competition. Like I personally I think if you're not ready, if you're not a black belt and you don't actually fight at the level of a black belt, then you probably shouldn't be competing. Um, if
no, no.
with other people, like
No, man. It's also I told you when I go on vacation, I always try to find a jiu-jitsu club to train,
that's
and
awesome.
yeah, and um, I don't want to be a black belt or when I was in a brown belt or a purple belt and step into the gym and not worth of my belt,
Hmm.
because all the guys want to test you when you step into a new gym,
Yes.
and, you don't want to get uh, yeah.
Well,
That's
especially if like you're going there with your representing with your badge of your
exactly.
team.
Yeah. So I represent Team Kaishin, and I don't want they when I leave that they laugh at me because they say, yeah, how did he earn his belt?
Hmm.
Uh, and the same is with the guys that I teach and the girls that I teach is um, I want you to go. For example, if you go to another gym and you're wearing your belt, you must be worth of your belt. So
Hmm.
um, yeah,
Yeah,
that's important for me. So um, I would never give a belt if
when
you
it's not
don't
deserved.
exactly.
Yeah. Do you think why is it with other martial arts that doesn't happen like that? Because like I did taekwondo when I was a kid. I
Yeah,
was like 10 to the age of 12 maybe, and I earned shit, maybe like 4 belts. I don't know. I was like green belt. What did it go? It goes white, yellow tag, yellow, green, blue, red. Oh no, red, blue, black, I think. And I'd earned like 2 or 3 belts.
Yeah.
And probably in a year I'd earned all of these belts. And really, realistically, I shouldn't have had those belts, but it was like they gave them out to keep the kids going. Why do you think that is in other martial arts?
Money, I think, and to keep people motivated. Yeah, I, that's the biggest reason, I think, to keep people motivated, and money, because sometimes when you with certain martial arts, when you have to do an exam, you have to pay for your exam, and it's a money thing. So yeah, it's
That's a shame.
yeah.
It just looks so stupid though, because like when someone's like, oh yeah, I'm a black belt in obviously I know like taekwondo, I'm not dissing it. I know taekwondo has some amazing moves, some amazing kicks.
For sure.
The striking's pretty shit, to be honest. The striking, I can remember we had to like punch from the waist, like sit, no, don't, no. Oh, I think it was. But like, when you've got someone who's like a kid and they've earned their black belt in like 8 months, and then they go to like, I don't know, especially if they then go to like an MMA place, or they go and they turn to jiu-jitsu, for example, and they've got a black belt. And I think actually Jake was saying, a friend of mine, for anyone listening, my friend Jake was saying he was training at a place in Gouda, and somebody turned up once, and they were wearing a belt, a black belt, and it was their first time doing jiu-jitsu. And it's like, oh no. And they had a black belt on, and he's like, oh, what's the black belt? And it was what's that martial art called that's like where they wear the big baggy clothes?
Aikido.
Yeah, it was Aikido.
Yeah.
And so he was like, yeah, I'm a black belt in Aikido, and he wore his black belt with a normal gi to jiu-jitsu class.
Yeah,
but that's really fucking bad. And then I was
it's
like,
really bad. Yeah, it's really bad.
Jake, who had been going for like 1 month, fucked him up.
Yeah, but what you're gonna create is all the people in the gym are going to test you. If you wear that black belt and you step into a new gym for the first time, yeah, they all want to test that black belt. It's yeah. Even when somebody will join us in the team, and I know everybody is waiting for the time we can spar, and then everybody
just to
wants.
test them, for sure.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
Especially if someone's like either wears a belt or comes in a big way, like, I don't know. Obviously, I love some, the guy. There are some lovely guys from MMA, but you get some. There's definitely been some people that come in and they're just like, we're like a rhino or a bull, raging. And I'm looking. I'm just like, oh, I can't wait to just like.
Yeah, man.
And I'm happy to just like fight off my back and have a closed guard, and then just wait until they're put their arms out, and then next thing you know, I'm choking them out, doing a submission on them.
That's what I love. So also with real big guys with a lot of muscle, you let them go the first minute, 2 minutes, and then the energy runs out, and then they're yours. It's almost always the same. It's I like it.
Yeah, man, same.
And
just for the record, Jake, it was Aikido that guy did, and I also tapped Jake out like multiple times. So it's not that he's a master, because the other day, if you're listening, Jake, who you are, thinks he's the big man. He's one of these guys, throwing.
Oh God. Yeah.
Have you got plans to compete at any point soon, do you think?
Yes, I really want to compete. Maybe this year, man. Yeah.
Cool.
So I saw you already was signing up for a tournament.
Yep, I am going to be competing in September.
Sweet.
I'm really excited. I just need
Nice.
to lose a little bit of weight. Like, I mean, I don't have to. Like, it's not. I just don't want to cut. Like I think last time I really fucked myself over by trying to do a weight cut in the last week, and I was just exhausted. I had to. I don't know if you remember, but I had to like put on all my clothes and run around the car park to like lose like 500 grams of sweat. And so by the time I actually weighed in, I was just like exhausted. So I want to go there at the perfect weight.
I had the same one time. We went to Belgium, and my weight scale at home showed me that I was on weight, and I came on the tournament, and I stand on the weight scale, and it shows me that I was 2 kilograms off.
2 kilo. Fuck.
2 kilo. Yeah. So I did off my gi, and I did all my normal clothing on, and I started running, jump ropes, and I lost 2 kilograms on.
No way.
Yeah. It was terrible. It was really terrible.
2
But
kilos. So
yeah, man.
that's liquid. You sweat it out.
Yeah,
2
liquid.
kilos.
Yeah. And I
Holy
was.
shit.
I feel so. I did my weight. I could drink a little bit because I know when I did too much, then I get problems during the match.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was it was awful. But yeah, I did. I know I did good that time.
How did the match go?
I went first, man.
You
Yeah.
ran? No.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
took first place.
I was a blue belt that time, and it was in Belgium, and yeah.
No
Good
way.
memory. Yeah, man.
So how many people did you have to go against?
Three.
Cool. Wow.
Yeah. And I felt my energy was really low. So I really had to fight with tactical, because I knew if I would win that match, I had another one, and I can't use all the energy because I had to
Sure.
fight. Yeah.
Yeah, you didn't want to gas yourself out.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That's one of the hardest things as well, I think, to learn, is to conserve your energy properly.
Yeah.
And it's
Because
so easy.
the higher the belt, that's the longer you have to fight. So
Oh, really?
yeah.
So how long is one round, one match for black belt then? 6?
8
8 minutes.
8 minutes.
Well, that's
Yeah.
it just means it's just so much more technical, and so I guess that just allows for you to fight off your back and technically, because like I don't know, when I'm rolling with somebody, even I think like yesterday, I chose to fight off my back, and the rounds were longer than a few minutes, so I was able to just like essentially hold them in guard and feel for them leaving openings. But if it was like a 3-minute match or a 3-minute round, well, then the likelihood is they're not going to gas themselves out in 3 minutes, and they might not leave so many openings. But over like 8 minutes, it's way better to be technical.
Yeah, man. Yeah, you have to, because if you have to fight another match and you're gassed out, then it won't work. It's but it's also sometimes it's difficult. Sometimes you want to rest. Sometimes I'm a really lazy jiu-jitsu guy, and but the referee wants to see you constantly in movement. So if you're laying aside, they want to see you advance to another or a better or you can't
working on your position.
Yeah, exactly. So it's not like judo that you can pin somebody down and sit out a match. No, you have constantly have to be working.
Okay.
So that's tough.
Have you got any plans to do any more MMA, do you think?
No, no. I know my striking is not that well. My kicking neither. So I'm gonna stick it to grappling and
Yeah.
jiu-jitsu.
Okay, fair enough. Cool.
Yeah, yeah. And you?
You know, I want to experience it for sure, like a match at some point. I would never consider, I mean, I'm too old now to like even consider really going professional, but like I couldn't, you don't get paid enough to get brain damage, you know?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
those guys, even the guys in the UFC are like, you know, even the top fighters aren't, some of them are getting paid, you know, they train for 3 months and they leave there with like 10,000, 20,000 for a fight. But then for 3 months and then you've got to pay their trainers and everything, you know, it actually works out. Like some of them get less than minimum wage. And for something that could really leave you, like if you go in there and you get knocked out, you've trained for months and someone just beats the shit out of you, like, you know, and that long-term damage is, yeah,
It's not worth it, I
you
think.
know,
No.
unless you're Conor McGregor and you're getting 100 million and you
Yeah,
take one
start your
fight
own
a year.
whiskey. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Then you can go off the back of that. But
Yeah,
I
man. Yeah,
personally, like, I'd love to do just as many competitions as possible with BJJ and grappling. Like, I want to do gi and no gi, and then you know, I train a lot. I train striking a lot, and I try and mix it up. I do stuff with wrestling training with and all the takedowns and stuff like that, kickboxing, normal boxing. So I would like to see how I would do in the cage, you know, in the octagon,
yeah.
just for a match, you know, at some point. But I'm not in a rush for that. You know, I'd like to get, you know, I'd probably like to do 5 or 10 competitions really
Yeah, yeah.
of BJJ first.
But I'm really curious about September, your upcoming fights,
Mm-hmm.
because it's been a while since 2019. I think you fought the
Mm-hmm.
last
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
So during the time you improved a lot.
Yeah.
So it's fun to see because maybe you will see the same opponents as last time. But yeah, you brought in a lot of work. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I'm looking forward to see you
Cool,
fight.
man.
Yeah,
Thanks.
yeah. And
Yeah,
also for
excited.
yourself. So I remember the first time when you did competition. And if you compare that to uh, yeah how you fight like now, it's it's so different. Yeah,
Well, the first time, like, I've been not even a month, really. It was probably just over a month, and I just wanted to see what it was like, just
yeah,
to see. And I didn't even realistically, I didn't know any submissions properly, and I just thought I'd see what the press is like in competition. And you know, everyone was saying, you know, you learn more in a competition than you learn in a month of training. So I thought, you know, fuck it, and went for it. And obviously got my ass handed. Well, I lost. I lost on points.
doesn't
Only,
matter, man. Yeah, you were standing on the mat and you were there. So
yeah.
that's also a big victory.
And
I
I'm
think.
ready for war this time, man. I'm ready. Like
Yeah,
I feel the training is now like I've stepped it up. You know, I'm 7 days a week training and doing like the rock climbing, the bouldering as well. Like helps with my grips and stuff. And
yeah, for sure.
I feel more confident with it. I mean, still, I'm sure I could go in and there's going to be some beast who just gets me in some kind of weird flying triangle, and next thing you know, I'm unconscious. And
You never know with jiu-jitsu. That's the fun part of it. So
yeah,
sometimes you can think you're ready, and you put in a lot of work for preparations, and it could be over within 30 seconds because yeah, it's and when you and the other time when you're feeling a bit down, it can go very well. So you never know. That's
Yeah, man.
yeah. I remember the first time when I did the competition. I think you always remember your first time, and um, I was doing jiu-jitsu for a month, and I remember I was practically was judoing. I
You just throws and just
yeah,
trying to do all that.
yeah, it was takedown, bring it to the ground, control on the ground, and that was it. I couldn't pull off submissions
Mm-hmm.
at that time.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was basically uh, doing
Just
judo.
using your judo.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So
Um,
yeah, man, it's fun.
do you have any tips for anyone who who hasn't ever done anything like this and is listening, wants to give it a go, or anyone you think this should be for? Like, what would you recommend?
Yeah, I think you should try if you never done it before. And the biggest tip is not get frustrated in the first year when you're doing jiu-jitsu, because people will submit you, and you don't. When you start, you don't have the tools. Most of the times, you don't have the tools to submit somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
But uh, don't let yourself down, because during the time you will get your tools and get your techniques, and it's a question of of time, and you will be on everybody goes on a certain level,
Mm-hmm.
and everybody has his own journey, and everybody has his own reasons to start with jiu-jitsu. If you want to be a recreational fighter, if you want to do competitions, if you want to test yourself, yeah, it's all a big test. Yeah, it's you're gonna be in really uncomfortable positions,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, people gonna bring you pressure, and you think you're gonna die because you can't breathe. But yeah, you're gonna learn yourself a lot better. Yeah,
you get to know yourself so well from it, for
yeah,
sure. It
yeah,
makes you feel vulnerable and makes
yeah,
you realize.
yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. Yeah,
I think that I think like everyone should do it, but I also think like women, or like, it was such a good thing for women to know,
yeah, yeah.
because
Even for
like,
self-defense,
so
because
exactly, yeah.
yeah, you see a lot of things happen outside when somebody wants to fight you. It most of the times it ends up in on the ground,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, if you practice jiu-jitsu, you feel safe on the ground.
Yeah,
You can protect yourself.
yeah, for sure.
So
Well, we've done over an hour of this, which is awesome. Which
yeah, yeah, man.
so I would love to. I think it would be great again in the future to get one going when we got the studio set up, and maybe with a few of the other guys, we can get maybe Patrick and Luke down and Reich, and maybe have like we could even watch some fights, and yeah, just
Yeah, it will be fun,
have
man.
a live video, live podcast going again. Um, thank you so much for your time,
Thank you for having
and
me.
sorry about all the technical issues at the start.
No, no,
So,
don't
but
mind. Don't mind.
cool. So I will just thanks everybody for tuning in. This has been Shifty Perspective, and we've been Ash and Michel Ras, who is my teacher and master at jiu-jitsu. Taught me everything I know. So thank you so much for tuning in. This has been great, and see you guys next week. From next week, we will be moving to Sunday afternoons. We've had a vote on the podcast, and the majority of people have requested it to be on Sunday. And personally, that works better for me because it means I can go home after a long day at work, and I don't have to rush through the podcast. So I can go rock climbing Sunday morning, and then come home, do the podcast, chill out, and yeah, relax. So it will be, the next podcast will be on Sunday, the 19th of July. And we will have an exciting guest on that date. So please check out on Instagram or Facebook, subscribe to our YouTube. If you haven't subscribed, hit the thumbs up, hit the subscribe button. Thanks a lot, guys, and see you again.